And welcome back to the Part-Time Otaku Podcast. My name is Dave.
My name's Grant.
And here we cover, currently, the Attack on Titan anime series. Today we're going to talk about Season 4, Episode 11, which just came out a couple days ago. Usually how we do this is we're going to go over a very quick summary, and then we're going to get into all the details, our breakdown of the episode, things you may have missed, etc. Before we do that, though, I want to give a big shout-out to Xiao Manguo, sorry if I butchered that, on Reddit and Instagram for the thumbnail of this week's episode. I love me some Mikasa appreciation.
Yes.
I don't think we've had one like this before.
I don't think so.
This whole season. So thank you very much for the art. We've tagged you everywhere, so hopefully people can give you a follow and appreciate more art. And with that, let's just jump right into this episode. So Season 4, Episode 11, I think this one was called Deceiver. Gabby kills the prison guard, allowing her and Falco to escape and take refuge at the Browse family stable, who accept them as a pair of runaways. Kaya, an orphan of the stable, is aware that Gabby and Falco are from Marley. Kaya takes them to the place where her mother died 4 years ago. Kaya and Gabby argue about the sins of their Eldian ancestors and whether or not Kaya's mother deserved to die. Despite their argument, Kaya offers to take them home to meet a Marleyan cook, with hopes they may be able to find their own way home.
Hanji is forced to deal with the insubordination when Flock and crew are caught leaking information about Eren. In Marley, the military surmises Zeke's betrayal. Instead of waiting to gather their strength for a full attack, Reiner suggests an immediate counterattack to take Parody Island by surprise. Oh, baby.
It's good, eh?
This is a good one.
Very different episode.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the right as soon as Gabby murders that poor fucking prison guard, in my head I was and welcome back to Attack on Titan, where children murder prison guards and the points don't matter.
Brutal. That was
a good, good. I mean, good/brutal. That was rough.
Yeah, that was. This whole episode, Gabby, it's so
a Gabby
funny.
episode. 100%.
It's a Gabby episode for sure, and a Gabby episode I think we needed.
Yes.
The past few weeks have been a lot of. She's clearly, she knows how to, put someone out. She's a killer, a plain killer. And we got that early on. Obviously, that's how the season opened up is, Gabby, the war hero.
Yep. And
she's been able to back her words up this whole season so far, but it's been a lot of smoke, no fire. And the fire was on.
She wasn't playing.
No, she was like an animal, a deranged animal. It was insane.
They weren't kidding in that post-credits scene where they're Gabby and Falco are some of the most talented candidates. It's Gabby apparently, specifically, can escape a fucking prison behind enemy lines.
Oh, yeah.
And slip into obscurity and won't hesitate to kill anybody that she crosses paths with. It's a bummer, too, because that security guard was hey, he seemed are you all right?
Yeah.
He catches a brick for it.
Yeah, he caught a brick, too. I think, who knows what it was really feeling. It was maybe just, the most minimum, jailer sincerity. Maybe,
yeah.
her, because it was so funny, too. We had paused the episode, or, I was queuing up the episode. I had to go, run to the other room, grab my tea or whatever, and the first 2 seconds of the episode just screaming, and Leanna kind of looks over to me, and I was I don't know what we're about to watch. It was 2 seconds of just screaming. But yeah. It's
rough, man.
Gabby though, a great Gabby episode, and it honestly feels like it's kind of a good place to start because it immediately kind of cuts to them on the run. But
I was going to say, right before it cuts to them, we just see a quick 5-second long scene of Reiner waking up. And
yes.
All it does is confirm that, Piek is alive, Galliard's alive, Reiner's fine. And then we arrive at Gabby.
But that wasn't insinuating that, Reiner's been out. I guess this might be, a bit of, time, it might not be happening, side by side. Is that him just having a bad dream, or is that him just waking up from everything that happened?
Good question. The way I interpreted it is that it was him just waking up, but I don't know how much sense that makes. And like you said, we don't know if the timelines here are completely simultaneous. It did look like he was in a hospital. Mm-hmm. There were other people around him all bandaged up, but who knows how long he's been out.
I'm ready for more Reiner. It was a good little kind of
interlude.
Good interlude, but I found the way they we only saw, I think, like a couple instances of like Reiner and Pieck and Galliard, but like this is like a good way of like they're kind of drip feeding the Marlians back in again for like again the what I'm assuming is to be like the season finale or series finale. Still don't know yet of like kind of everyone coming back together. But I'm glad to see more Reiner. I'm glad to see Reiner is like I think he's has some clarity now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, it's momentary in this scene, but I'm just glad to have Reiner back.
Yeah, I'm interested in where the hell he goes. But yeah, so Gabby and you were saying, Gabby and Falco, the episode pretty much leans right into them being on the run.
Yeah.
I loved the way, the first thing I have to note, because like it was like the first thing I noticed, is the animation of this episode, really great.
Stellar.
Specifically on scenery.
Yeah, there's that lakeside shot. Mm-hmm. That was probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen in the show. Like just just like the sun reflection off the lake and the tree, like just like it almost looks like an arrowhead, right? Like there's this tree line and it kind of pincered off into like mountain range in the distance. Very, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that intro, and by the lake, and they have this whole conversation about Falco trying to get her to take off the armband.
Yeah. That
was great.
That's the thing too, like we had sent Gabby is completely, it almost seems like she's devolving. Do you know what I mean?
Like she's eroding, like she's breaking.
Yeah.
The betrayal of Zeke, it's like the first thing she says too.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't trust anybody anymore.
And even too, when she says that, like she has no intention of living. Like she's completely radicalized in this moment, like the whole episode, like
she even says that, right? She says that to Falco. She's like, you didn't have to die too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because she's resigned. In this moment anyway, it seems like she has no intention of making a break for it, or she really doesn't think she can survive.
She says like it's like the only thing she needs to do is like she needs to get an answer from Zeke, and then it's almost like she can die happy that way. Like obviously she's gonna go out swinging, but no, it's like it honestly feels like she's living in a nightmare. That like after watching the episode a couple times, that was like just like her reactions to everything, like like it was almost like if a butterfly had come into screen, like off into her eye line, it would like kind of like spook her kind of thing. Like she was so on edge,
agitated, messed up.
Like she's
traumatized.
She probably hasn't slept, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that wouldn't be shocking. She was just muttering Aaron's name in that prison the whole time.
Yeah. But no, the armband thing, that was like not to say she sounded pathetic, because I don't think she was. Like I think she's like deeply hurt right now, and like because like the last thing she saw was her city trampled. Like, but she's almost like not childish in the way of like just the way she said like no, like this, it almost saying like this armband is what makes me a good, she kept saying a good Eldian, like as if she was like kind of in servitude of like which they are.
I'm a good boy. You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, exactly that, dude. Like that's what I'm getting at. It was just kind of like she just had to keep saying it out loud.
Yeah, and that armband, she had kind of allured to it, right, as when they had been attacked. She wanted to turn that armband into a symbol of hope and into a positive. But you could tell, whether her intentions worked out or not, that that thing is a part of her identity. You know what I mean? And as we see later in the episode, she just kind of personifies a lot of the problems with how Eldians feel over there, and it's not really simple as just taking it off. It feels like he's asking her to shed her skin or something.
Yeah, it's like he pulled her hair out.
Yeah,
like
which makes sense that she attacked him when he took it off.
Also, how much did she look like Aaron in this episode?
Dude, there's a couple moments in here that I'm not going to get to, but I think definitely intentional, definitely well executed. But that armband scene, it's really set a tone. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, okay, so we're gonna go down this road.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually, I was a little taken aback because like I think you and I have kind of had the assumption or the feeling that like Gabby was gonna like just slowly becoming more radicalized. Mm-hmm. I was like just like the complete like breakdown of her character of like like this is her element, right? Like she's in, and like as far as she's concerned, she's like behind enemy lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like, but she's not even in like soldier mode. She's just like looking to hurt and harm. You know,
Panic,
like it's
outburst.
yeah. She's scared,
trauma.
very scared.
She's still a kid,
Yeah,
but a kid that knows how to commit murder. It's a very dangerous combination, right?
No, absolutely. And like this, you know, like I've been hard on Gabby, and it's funny, I've been hard on Aaron too. Like they go hand in hand, but like this episode, like her actions are very extreme throughout the episode, but like it's her character is so genuine. Like they've done such a good job. Like this character alone is very, very good. Like, you know, I still like don't like Gabby as a character. I think she can fuck off.
Nuts, yeah.
It still drives me nuts, but like her development and like where she is in the story now, like it makes sense for like leading up to this moment, and it still seems genuine. You know?
You could say a lot of these things about season 1 and 2 Aaron. He was such a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Like he was so impatient and throwing tantrums and melodramatic and immature. And I mean, like obviously the things driving Aaron and Gabby are like very sensical, and it makes sense why they're this passionate, but it was you know, they share a lot of common threads. What you were saying about, you know, her actions are pretty drastic. I liked the play here, you know, when Kaya, this girl, discovers them. And
Kaya, that was her name. I could not remember her name.
Yeah, so this girl Kaya discovers them, and you know, Sasha's, you know, her, or not Sasha, God, Gabby's instinct here is, you know, she talks back to the girl, but she's grabbing a rock behind her back. You know what I mean? And Falco's right there, and he definitely notices, and he makes a different play. And that is another thing, sort of a theme throughout the whole episode, is him kind of holding her back and making a different decision than she's about to.
Well, it's from that moment too. Like, not to cut you off, but like that's the only time in the episode she is the first one to speak when spoken to.
Yep.
The only time, and like it's almost
she was going for a kill too.
Well, I was thinking Falco picked up on it. He's like, "Well, fuck, I gotta take the wheel on this one," you know, like, and going forward, it's always him that like, you know, he leads these conversations, and he has to because she's fucking crazy.
Yep.
You know,
yeah, that was sad, man. And did you know, or did you feel like you knew instantly that we were going to see Sasha's family the moment you saw the girl discover them?
Well, I think you and I had a bit of a spoiler because they had kind of teased it in the next week on, like the preview episode the week prior.
And I saw it coming as a result, yeah.
As a result, I saw it coming, and this is probably the only time where like
kind of wish you hadn't.
Kind of wish I hadn't, because I feel like it would have hit more. But I feel like if I didn't know, because like we had just, it would have seemed a little like, not ham-fist is the word, but it would have been like a little forced, I feel. But knowing, somehow I feel like it kind of made it feel more like normal to me. I feel like maybe in the moment, we're like, really, as if like they're running into the person she murdered's family and all that. But
right.
But no, it's, you know, of course, like, but that's also a big part of the story. Like, you can slowly tell they're trying to. It's almost like an olive branch. Like the universe is given an olive branch to Gabby, because there's a chance for forgiveness a little bit. You know,
understanding.
Like an understanding, and like we get to that, but like even going further, I think there is a possibility. I don't know if that's the case, but like you can tell the attempt is made to like fix her character a little bit, like personally her character.
Yeah, that the intro scene was really good, I thought. You know, they arrive, and Gabby, you know, like you said, Falco does all the talking, and there's one sec where the mom touches Gabby, and Gabby slaps her immediately.
Yeah.
And the guy that, you know, the voice actor for Falco did such a good job too, because he tries to shift the tone into talking about how good the food is.
Yeah.
But he's like shaking.
Well, he sound. That's one moment too. Like, there's a couple clues in the episode, like very early on to them getting to the ranch or the orphanage or however you want to. I think it's called. Is it Grouse Stables? Yeah. So even before that, there's like when Kaya first finds them, they even like Kaya even says like she makes an assessment of it is really early. How did you get here? It doesn't say that to them. It almost seems like she was talking to herself. Right off the bat, Kaya knows. Like, obviously, like 100%. The two of them were, you know, screaming at each other in a riverbank. So she knew something was up. But then, like, and then obviously, like, Kaya reveals her intentions later, but like, that moment when like Gabby kind of slaps the mom's hand away, like, the dad, or do we know Sasha's dad's name?
No, I don't
No.
think so. I mean, maybe she.
Pa. Let's call him Pa, because Sasha probably called him that. But like,
She did call him Pa or something.
oh,
like
did
that.
she? Okay. So like, he's an unjudging character. Like, he just immediately goes like, they're traumatized. Like he looked to his wife, and they looked to each other, and you can tell they're caring people. None of the kids at the table bought it, and Falco sounded like a maniac at the table, like, isn't it so good? And like, that was this, like, it was like weird little bits of like awkward comedy. It was like watching, not quite, but it was like watching The Office. Like, you're sitting there, you're like, everyone knows what is going on here, but like,
yeah, it's like that secondhand embarrassment cringe.
It was secondhand embarrassment. It feels like the only people in the room that thought they were getting away with it was Gabby and Falco,
or probably just Falco.
and the parents.
Yeah, Gabby was like clearly struggling to process it all.
Yeah, she was clearly having some PTSD, like a moment there, like she was spiraling out of control. But Falco sounded like a maniac too, like,
yeah, big time. I agree. So that was a good scene. That a lot of these scenes are unpleasant. They're really effective. Like that armband scene, this scene, the climax of the episode, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
But from here we go to Parody Island with the quote main cast to get back to the main storyline. We don't get a lot of this.
No.
Or at least it didn't feel like we did, because we had a ton.
It was like just little drops.
Yeah, but upon reflection, like there we did learn a little bit, right? So Azuma Bito is back with some Hizuru crew.
Also, my big swing theory is completely wrong.
Oh, really?
I think so.
What was your big swing theory again?
Just that she Azuma Bito was spurned by like the essentially like them not offering up the ice burst stone, and like her potentially going to Willie. I still stand by, like, I don't think she's on the most up and up.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. None of these people I feel like can be trusted. Because they're all people from foreign nation with no real investment in Parody, other than potentially Parody doing well might be directly tied to Marley not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So all these, I agree though. I don't trust her at all.
Yeah.
But she arrives and says, we want to witness the danger in person this time.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the first airboat. That was what my subtitle said.
Made
with ice burst stone, and then also we learn that the scouts or the MPs or whoever have put out an order to evacuate Shiganshina. Shortly thereafter. Do you remember that? It's the following scene basically.
Yep.
Azuma Bito drops the whole, we're gonna get ready to test. We have like an aircraft.
Because they make a point of being able to observe the test rumbling.
Yeah. So what do you think that's about? Like they just want to be able to see it from a greater height in order to better ascertain.
Probably the only safest way, because if it works and it is what it is, it's probably going to be maybe not an onslaught, but it's going to be some Titans breaking from the wall.
Yeah.
I'm
curious. I don't want to derail us here, but have you thought about this whole rumbling thing? Like,
logistically, it makes no sense to me.
The whole idea of gathering 10 million or millions, even if that is hyperbolic, colossal Titans, like what isn't there only one and it's passed down? Like, how are they all alive? Are they just pure Titans that are mindless, that are just big, and they've all been hardened together?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This is like probably the biggest, like, what if? Like, this is one of the we honestly do not know. Like, the only taste we've had is like, when is it the end of season 1 where the wall cracks open and there's.
Yeah, so it's true. Like, there is a Titan there. There are Titans there. They are somehow alive, because actually, I guess we already know the only way to kill a legit Titan is to cut the nape, right? Yeah. They don't eat, or they don't necessarily need to eat. I remember they determined that in season 1. The whole sunlight thing. They seem to do fine being confined. So maybe it's just a bunch of regular ass Titans, but it feels like they said several times colossal Titans.
Did Willie say that?
I think so. Yeah.
So that could just be like kind of a.
You think he's just exaggerating to press, like, for further his point.
That could be my guess. It could be, well, because like the people at that point, the people in the world know what the Colossal Titan is, right?
Right.
So that probably was, for a propaganda perspective, that's probably a very key tool and weapon to like create fear and, try to, put dissent into like another nation kind of thing. So, that could be another case of just kind of stretching the facts a little bit to, please give us your money, help us go bomb these people. Right. So like, that's the thing. Who knows? Like, I think
it's weird to you too.
Absolutely. I think we had mentioned it last week. Like they made references to the rumbling like 5 times, and it's like I cannot give any mental energy to that until I see it. Yeah, like because I visually can't picture it. Yeah. Like I can because like they're in the wall, but and, like, it's gonna crumble and it's gonna probably look epic or terrifying. But like I don't understand. The thing that I can't get my head wrapped around is if they do this. Where are the people going to go?
When you say the people, you mean like the citizens?
Like the citizens. Like there's no one, like maybe at this point people are living outside the walls and they've accounted for that. They're moving people away.
Maybe, yeah, we don't need the walls anymore because we have a port and Marley can't drop off pure Titans anymore.
Yeah.
Assuming we've eradicated all of them, which is like, seems like a bold assumption to make. Like I probably wouldn't go live near a forest right now. Or something, you know what I mean? But
no, exactly. But that's the thing. Like, there's so many. I don't know if we've ever had a head count on like how many people lived within the walls.
It was
one time. I'm sure there has
thousands,
been. Yeah, it must be. So like, are they just going to like? Obviously, they're evacuating Shiganshina, but like how controlled is this test going to be? Yeah. That's what Like,
and
does
that also mean that you lose that portion of the wall? Like, if you test it on Shiganshina wall, does that mean you're losing that little shell? I don't know. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
That's it's, and I don't think it's like this is. It's not a derailment. Like this is stuff that was directly. It's coming up close. Like like it's soon. I would imagine.
Yeah.
And it's just like a logistics thing. Like I know it's gonna happen. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's like how is it going to play out in the moment?
Lastly on this, where do the Titans go? Like, are you gonna put them all on boats? Like, isn't it only useful if you're being invaded? You can't, like, what do you, like, you know what I mean? You're an island.
Yeah.
So even if you rumble that shit, like, you're not gonna rumble them across the ocean. I mean, unless you are, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan has been set, but like we as like a viewer of like the anime, like I'm sure the manga readers have some insight here, but
if it happens at all,
if it happens at all, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like we know the plan. Zeke is like this grand genius. Him and Eren have this plan, but like I don't see the vision, if that makes sense. And it feels like the people that only do see it are like
higher ups.
Well, the higher ups, but it feels like it's Zeke and his cronies. They're the ones that like see the big picture. So I feel like there's just like one little detail we're missing that we'll eventually get, and it's gonna be like, of course.
Yeah, I don't think we're overlooking anything obvious. So maybe we're intended to not know. So as we keep moving here, it really just seems that Hanji is a little bit overwhelmed. She's entering this building. All these people are asking her questions. Why'd you give the order to evacuate Shiganshina? What about Eren? Is it true he's been imprisoned? And we're like, oh, where does that come from? And then
a lot of familiar faces in that scene.
Yeah, I know. Season 1 folks, eh?
Yeah. Well, there's the journalists from, is that season 2?
2 or 3.
2 or 3, and then there's I completely blocked his name out. He was in our season 3 wrap up. The son of the merchant. He was there, and there's the journalist for the paper.
All these people along the way trying to hold her accountable, because they literally say, like, they quote her being like, you said that you wouldn't hide things that are paid for with taxpayer money, and you can just tell that in entering this brave new world, very few choices remain simple. Their problems are so much more complex now, and she says that. She's like, listen, things changed when we opened our doors to the world. And then she just leaves them alone.
It was the most like un-Hanji thing. It kind of broke my heart a little bit, because like that's not her, but that's like the most politician thing she could have said, like, because that's what she is. Like, she's running the scouts, but like she's a public figure at this
Big
point,
time.
you know?
Because that one guy says, okay, like, I understand you can't tell me. Just tell me I can trust you. Look me in the eye. And she can't even do that.
No. She completely blew it off.
And then it gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because then she walks in and she has to punish these...
Great scene, by the way. Great scene.
super killer scene.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And it,
Other thing I was wrong about.
What were you wrong about?
I was convinced Flock was going to be hunting down Gabby. That was a total fake out by them in the preview.
It was
total fake out.
But it also, like, I love it because it makes so much sense that one, Aaron is of course going to have his own group of radicals, right? People that think he's a fucking god savior. Mm-hmm. But also that Flock would absolutely be one of them. This guy's bloodthirsty as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He sees Aaron as like a guy who just gets stuff done.
There's the line. Yeah. There's the line he has of, Aaron is the true ruler of this country. Mm-hmm. You need to let him go. Yeah. And it was kind of like it was almost like terrorist demands.
You better let my boy go.
You know, like it was like do it, and they're like no.
And Hanji's even like, we don't even know if the rumbling is gonna work. And he's like, that's only because you won't fucking let him out. Like, he's gonna lead us to victory. So I really appreciated that scene. I appreciated Hanji's action here.
Yeah.
You know,
your soldiers, you just spade orders, like, you know, like
you're gonna be punished.
Yeah.
And she also lets on, like, I'm gonna test it anyway, but just because I'm doing that doesn't mean like you get a get out of jail free card. Get the fuck out of here. You're gonna be tried. So
like we are at war and you went behind her back. Like, are you insane?
Yeah. Like, so then Hanji has this. There's like this. You know, everybody leaves, and then Hanji has this little flashback of this man that's all bandaged up.
That is the. Do you remember him? Do you know who that is?
The MP she tortured.
From
like season 1 or 2 or 3.
No, I think that is the. He was running the church.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or he was involved in the church in some way.
Yeah, and in one of the previous seasons, she had spent a lot of time with a religious figure, a church guy, because he knew why there were Titans in the walls, right? And she was trying to get information out. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, he had said something cryptic about like it's always, you know, it's going to be difficult later. Good luck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, it feels like she's obviously feeling the weight of that.
I think everyone is feeling the weight, like all like the years and years, like because that's the big thing. Like, you know, there was a lot of, you know, the way parody was run for a long time was like clearly not ideal, and I think that over time, but I think the pressure of like what the people in power were running and doing kind of caught up with them, and it just kind of drove them a little crazy. And I think just like their power grabbing and their, you know, kind of, you know, just like their lifestyles, like their luxurious lifestyles, it kind of like got the better of them, you know, and then just it just perpetuated over time, and that's like the only thing they saw anymore. It wasn't about like responsibility, but you can kind of see like this whole show is about like history repeats, like, and it reminds you, it's honestly at this point it's like beating us over the head. Mm-hmm. And like I don't mind it because it's true, like that is what's going on.
It seems
like,
to be one of the biggest themes of the show, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, the fact that they keep doing a good job communicating that, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think they're kicking a dead horse because they keep expressing that message in new and creative ways. Yeah,
they're really like and this season has done a really good job showing that. Like they've done a better job at not just like leaving it in the background for you to pick up on. It's kind of more like, no, here it is. Like this is these are the themes. Like remember this, you know.
Yeah. Next scene is this Louise girl. I'm glad that they showed a season 1 like flashback because I never would have known who she was.
I had no idea who she was. Yeah. The way Mikasa was talking to her, I was like, oh, she must be somebody.
Yeah, but it was this girl that, you know, was in front. I remember the episode. You know, it was when they were invaded and Mikasa and Eren and Co were already in the scouts, and Mikasa bodies a Titan in front of people that were trying to get through the doors.
Oh, okay.
And this little girl was, you know, in the arms of her mother, or she was running with her mother at the time, and Mikasa comes in like a fucking superhero and saves them all. And I think she, you know, maybe she saluted or something when she did that. So it makes sense that she had a really big impression on this little girl, and this little girl grew up wanting to be in the scouts so that she could be like Mikasa. And it also makes sense that she would have been on Flock's side to leak information.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she's in prison.
Yeah, because they said 3 recruits and you, Flock. Like,
Yeah.
she was clearly, like, Hanji was clearly talking to Flock and, like, in that scene. But
Yeah.
it's good to see, like, it's not just some, like, 3 unnamed characters. Like, you know, we still got 2 unnamed characters, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they made an effort to make their choices a little more, you know, realistic and concrete.
Yeah, and this girl seems to have a very keen fascination with Mikasa too. Like, you know, she had, I don't know if you caught a couple things, but she was like, "Did you stay in this cell?" You know?
Yeah, that I didn't get that at all. I wasn't sure where that was.
It feels like it just feels like she's obsessed with Mikasa. That's all I really got out of it.
Oh, okay.
How about those flashbacks though?
Yeah, that was another thing too, is like, what's going on here?
Yeah, because you know, like, flashbacks are creative and they often do foreshadowing, but it looked like they were literally hurting Mikasa. Like, she was grimacing while it was happening.
The audio cues too they used, I found, like, were very sharp, and like it was hard. It was hard on the ears watching it.
Yeah, it looked like it caused her physical pain. So I wonder what the deal is with that. Like, is Mikasa having some kind of issue, or is this just some sort of like creative use of foreshadowing to show us something? I don't know what that was, but it was interesting.
Is like, now that we're talking about it, this, because they kind of hinted last episode to, like, we don't know the power of the Ackermans. You know, like, is this their, like, kind of, you know, softball attempt at, like, reminding us of, like, something's coming for her character?
I really hope so, man. Like, I don't know if it's an attempt to remind us, but I do hope that there is something big coming for Mikasa.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, Armin has changed a lot. Jean, even. You know what I mean? Eren is obviously a completely different character. Mikasa, you know, could do with a moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like you said last week. Like, if there's any one character in this show who's long overdue for some, like, you know, some time well spent on screen, I think it's Mikasa.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, this is like I'm pulling this out of thin air, but, you know, maybe her big revelation is going to be not being obsessed with Eren and doing everything. You know, maybe she's going to be instrumental in some kind of way that, you know, maybe his character's downfall. Like, maybe, you know, she has to stop him at the end or something crazy like that. That would certainly do the trick.
If there's anyone that can get a 1-up on Eren, probably her. Maybe Levi.
Yeah. So next there's this weird scene. What did you get from this with Pixis and Yelena?
This was the teaser for next week, I think.
I think so too.
Well, I think they do a preview of this, but it feels like they're mementoing us a little bit with, like, we're going in reverse of, we're kind of seeing in reverse of, like, Eren's escape. It seems like Eren's escape, how he got information, and it kind of just, like, this little micro cult kind of growing within, like, the scouts.
Yeah.
And I think this was just kind of like Pixis being kind of creepy again. Like, ooh, I caught you, but at least I get to talk to a pretty girl. And it's like, fucking keep your comments to yourself, you weirdo. Like, put her on trial. Like,
so what did you get from that? Like, is the TLDR version of this that, like, Flock and Yelena connected and the two of them passed information to Eren, which allowed him to get over to Marley?
I think so. I think this was like, yeah, we caught your cell phones pinging nearby.
Yeah, okay.
That's what that was. Like, we caught you on the cell tower.
That's
Like, you know, like, it's, I think that's exactly what it is. I think they're going to give a little more, because that's the thing too.
Your
like,
iPhone was at the corner of 7 and Pitt. What the fuck were you doing? And you know Eren just lives a couple blocks away, and the next thing we know, he's on a boat?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Like, I think, because we had talked, you know, because we've had, like, the episode where it was 3 years prior, last week was the episode's 2 years prior, and then we kind of cut into, like, only now moments. I think, like, what maybe instead of going back a year, they're going to kind of, like, puzzle piece how Eren maybe slipped away, or, like, how information was, like, gone to. Because, like, clearly, like, there's, you know, I think this is them kind of catching on to, like, maybe Zeke and Yelena aren't on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because it was someone's decision to tell maybe Flock to go do what he did or get that information out. But because they also make reference to, like, the island, like, but then they're also kind of talking about stuff now. So, like, it kind of feels like they have, like, a portfolio of, like, hey, this is what we caught you doing. That was just my take on it.
Right. Yeah, no, I took it the same way, just that like we're kind of going through the pieces of how Aaron got out and maybe who he has surrounded himself with, and what he's up to. But that's basically it for main cast stuff, and then we're back to Gabby and Falco for the rest of the episode.
The business.
Yeah, she had that horse bite coming. I'll tell you that right now.
Is that a joke? Like, it was hilarious, and I enjoyed that more than I should have maybe. But like, is that a reference to a moment earlier in the show? Because I saw some reading online, and like Jean kept getting referenced in that scene.
Dude, I have no idea. What the fuck? Like, does Jean have a horse face, or like? Or
did someone call him a horse face?
Maybe?
Or is that something Sasha called him? Or I don't know.
That would make a lot of sense. Oh, wait, didn't she say he had a weird... I don't know. Maybe it's something in that line. That is my guess.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in this episode at all. I don't know what the fuck people are talking about, but I think it must be...
Gene wasn't. He was at that trial. Or
right.
Yeah. I think he escorted Flock out. Probably his responsibility.
Yeah, I'm guessing something. Some kind of justice for Jean, or like Sasha from the grave type shit. But, a little bit of karma.
The musical cue, like right as it's happening, and it cuts to like them like slipping and wiping out in the mud and all that. It was a funny
Falco's
little scene.
Like, yeah,
yeah.
Be careful.
It also opened up the door a little bit for like compassion for Gabby. I found. Mm-hmm. It was like kind of like a humbling moment for her, and it kind of cuts right to like Kay is like, hey, let's do lunch.
Yeah.
And then obviously like we go to that, but even then like there's more back and forth between Gabby and Falco, and she's like, why, like, like, what are you doing? Like, the little sister, like, what's with the little sister stuff?
Ruse?
Yeah.
She's like, we should kill everybody here.
Yeah, and you could tell, and that was the. Like there's a moment coming up, but like there was honestly a moment I thought she was going to massacre everyone at that, like in that
With
farm.
Pitchfork?
Well, yeah, like that's jump, but like from that moment, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna backfire on her, and she's gonna have to like kill all witnesses. Like, it's, but yeah, I guess we'll just go to that. It's like the lunch scene.
We have lunch, and then they kind of reveal. I was just thinking about this. They're all arguing. Gabby, of course, is the one who fucks it up, right? Like,
yeah.
We're having a normal conversation, and then Gabby's the first one to go, you're not atoning for your guilt, or something along those lines. You know what I mean? You haven't repented for your sins.
Because Falco's trying to be like a decent person, and because that's another important thing too. Like Aaron and Falco got close, and there's that moment like which was. I feel like is probably embedded into Falco's mind of like when Aaron looked over at him and he's like, and we are all the same.
Yes.
I think Falco
Aaron may have saved Falco from radicalization in that moment.
Absolutely.
By having that conversation in front of him.
Yeah. And that's what he said. Like, Falco needs to hear this conversation. Like Zeke told him to fucking beat it. And Aaron's like, no.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, no.
Or Reiner told him to beat it.
Or Reiner, yes. And then, and Aaron's like, and B, like, no, he should hear this. But it seems like Falco legitimately, like, it was like he was almost enjoying, like, his, like, secret undercover.
Oh, yeah.
Probably similar to Reiner. Mm-hmm. Reiner, like, obviously was, like, I think his... Like, Falco's asking questions, like, oh, Kaya, like, there's all these people, and then that leads to like the whole orphan thing, and then the queen supports kids without families and all that, and then that's where Gabby just opens her fucking big mouth, and just it goes from there. But yeah, like what's her line is what's the point of being a saint? Like, it doesn't matter how saintly you are, like this is too big a sin
pretty
to
much
atone for. And I was like, whoa. I was like, Jesus, that's pretty heavy. Like,
the way they reveal Kaya being aware of them was pretty cool. It really reminded me of the reveal of Reiner and Berthold saying, I'm the Armored Titan and he's the Colossal Titan. Do you remember? It was like super casual, intercut dialogue.
Yeah, talking over one another. And then they're just arguing. And then Kaya's like, is that what they taught you in Marley? Yeah.
You fucking punk.
Yeah. Hey. I know. and then Falco was like, oh, like you knew from the beginning, and she's like, you guys said it.
You fucking
like,
yelled it to the sky.
I like Kaya.
You dipshit.
She's got like she's weirdly fearless.
Yeah.
Weirdly fearless.
Yeah, this girl's maybe what she saw as a kid really toughened her up. It's hard to say. But of course, again, Falco goes the whole like, oh, you were aware? He wants to talk it out. You know what I mean?
And just watching Gabby walk away.
Go for that fucking... I was like...
Like, just off screen, I was like,
no, no.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, fuck, we are about to do this.
So the Aaron thing.
Yeah.
Gabby running with this pitchfork is like almost a frame-for-frame lift of Aaron running with a pitchfork as a child when he saves Mikasa. I saw a couple side-by-sides.
Oh.
I was like, oh my god.
Oh, like the kidnappers again.
Exactly.
They went back to that well a couple times lately.
They have, and especially Gabby being a younger character, it works so well.
The animation was pretty slick on that too. Her charging, I was like, "Ooh, that's some good action."
I'm glad that Falco, proved himself capable, stopped it, and I love that Kaya was like, let me show you some shit.
Well, it's so funny too. Like she jumped right to like.
Oh, and she covered for them. Yeah.
She covered for them, and like Falco's like, "Oh my god!" As if like just his reaction, and Gabby's reaction too was kind of like, "Oh."
Well,
like,
that continues to happen, right? This Kaya girl, this character who looks barely older than them.
Yeah.
Continues to kind of give them chances, and she has every reason to hate them, but continues to not. Which makes her like the perfect vehicle or the perfect mirror or positive to Gabby's negative to like have this conversation. And this was so well done. This next part when she brings them over to her family home. This
is top 5 for the whole season.
I think so.
Yeah.
And if anybody, if any audience, if any viewers hadn't put it together yet, that this is the girl that Sasha saved, obviously it's painted very clear. We go back to that place and they have this is like the climax of the episode. This yelling match, right?
Yeah.
I loved it, man.
It was the perfect like fuck you to Gabby.
Yeah.
And like the line, like just Kaya's like she was getting upset, but like she just was kind of like, but what does that have to do with me?
Yeah, she stayed in the pocket of the argument.
Yeah, absolutely. She didn't stray away from it. Gabby was getting emotional and like kind of like not grasping at straws, but it was like she was reading scripture. And Kaya was like, no, like my mom died 4 years ago. She had nothing to do with that. Like it was time framed. It was perfectly like, first it was, okay, well, we weren't alive 1,000 years ago. Okay.
Exactly. So now what? What's your next thing?
Yeah. Oh, well, 100 years ago also had nothing to do with us. 4 years ago, she died, and it was, she's the perfect crux to Gabby's like radicalization. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I think this is the perfect moment of like, they're giving Gabby's soul a chance. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a chance, and I really hope it goes well. But I totally agree. Man, this yelling match was so good. Gabby seems to be this personification of like all this ancestral guilt that has been drilled into her.
Yeah.
And all she can do is regurgitate it. And Kaya, also a young person, though slightly older, seems to be able to think for herself, and she kind of realizes that a person is much more than where they came from.
Absolutely.
Because she I love this line too. Like we've mentioned, the dialogue is often so well executed. At one point Falco jumps in and he says, the reason this happened is because, this was like a precursor to a larger scale attack.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But as they're walking out of that house, she says, it's weird for you to apologize for Marley. You were just born there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
the wisest shit, the dope is dope. Like one of the greatest lines from it. Like,
and
incredible
from a kid
stuff
too. You know what I mean? And like the amount of insight and understanding, and this kid also has all the reason in the world to be just as hateful as Gabby. After, especially once she learned that Marley was directly responsible for that happening. But she chooses just to be like, no, that has nothing to do with it.
It just goes to show, like, Gabby and Kaya could not be more polar opposite. Like, Gabby is the product of nurtured anger,
and
nurtured aggression, and like nurtured racism, and also like self racism. Like in that scene too, you forget that like Gabby is not a Marleyan like reminding her that she is dirt. She is a Eldian doubling down of like, why aren't you like angry? Like it was almost like she was shell shocked that like this other Eldian could not see like her view. And then Kaya's the opposite. Like she is the product of like, love and nurture, and like look at like the home she's being raised. Like obviously like the horrible stuff has happened to her, but like look where she is now. Like she's they're attempting, they're with other people, creating new families, new bonds. Like all those people at that farm easily could be the next wave of scouts. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Oh, like I didn't mention, or I think you did briefly, but it was a neat little detail there where Kaya had mentioned like everybody here's an orphan. Yeah. There's a program that the Queen set up because the Queen was more or less an orphan.
Yeah, on a farm too,
which makes a ton of sense that she would set something like that up. Yeah, that argument. I rewatched it, just that scene today, and the musical cues. As the tension builds, as their voices raise, like the music gets better and better, and louder. That was, like you said, that was one of my favorites of the whole season.
Oh, it's incredible. Like it's so. It just goes to show that like action sequences don't have to make a show. Like for like a battle shonen like this, like you can have like, like slice of life isn't like the right way to put it, but like just like a dramatic like a moment like everyone was just putting it out online. It was like it got physical at points too. Like I think Gabby was like talking some big talk, and kind of like got up in her face and was like, no,
shaking her a little bit. Listen here, you little shit.
Yeah, and then Kaya follows it up with, like she kind of sets up like this whole Nico thing, and like the restaurant, like the family's going to a restaurant with a Marleyan cook, and fuck, they've the things they've set up in previous episodes are all coming together. I love it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to help you guys. Like, I want to be the person that she was. And obviously, like, they don't know who they killed with Sasha. Maybe they would have, because I'm sure everyone was screaming her name.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I think you're right. I think they're obviously talking about Nico.
Yeah.
I'm really curious if it will come out that it was... If the other characters will learn that it was Gabby. I don't know if it changes anything. I think it's another testament to Kaya's character, too. And hopefully another big moment, like maybe that's the last, beat you over the head with it moment that Gabby needs to at least, I'm not saying like she's gonna pull a 180 and be like, oh, I get it now, but allow her to open up a little bit and try and get to know some people and learn.
Do you know who would be the perfect person to show her that lesson?
Who?
Nico.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like. He did not want to be. He was the first one to be taken hostage.
Yeah.
Like he was put in that position, and he fell in love with an Eldian, and like that's that whole sad story there. And who knows? He might choke the life out of Gabby and just solve everyone's problem. But fucking, like,
yeah,
he killed my love. Like like who knows? Like it's
my original prediction was that like her radicalization was gonna, cause damage to people around her and eventually get herself killed. And like you said, it feels like they've given her a chance to try and understand and get away from that, but definitely not a guarantee. Nobody is safe, right?
Also, too, while we're still, because there's more to come, but while we're still on it, the scene between her, the scene between her and Kaya and Gabby was very reminiscent to when Gabby and Falco were like still in Marley, like when they got on the ODM gear.
Yeah.
And there's the line, there's that argument, and Falco says like, did you see it? Like, we did that stuff. And Gabby's response is like, okay, well, did you see it?
Yeah.
No, then no. And then that's more or less repeated between Gabby and Kaya. And Kaya kind of puts it back in her face of like, okay, well, did you see it?
Yeah, exactly.
Did I see it? And I think Gabby, I think Gabby tries to like win that argument a second time using that same line. And Kaya's like, okay, well, like, I think that's where that was 4 years ago and my mom's dead. So, or she is dead.
She clearly had nothing to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, that's why that Kaya character is just the perfectly purpose-built rival to give Gabby a shake.
And it's so crazy to think back that was like, someone that Sasha saved all these years ago, like all these seasons ago, we first saw this.
That's
and
the fucking seed.
god, man. Like, it's so good.
No, it was good, man.
Yeah. But post-credit scene, Dave.
Before that, right as they end the episode, I fucking love when shows do this, man. When they artistically put the credits on top of the scene.
The credits song has never sounded sweeter.
Oh, dude, the way they leaned right into it. As Kaya was talking about, that's the kind of girl I want to be one day. You know, like I know that if, you know, Sasha was still alive, she didn't say my name, but if she was still alive, this is the kind of thing that she would do. Mm-hmm. As they bleed right into the credits music, I was like, oh, you're right, she would. She would have. Yeah, I agree though. Fucking great send off into the credits, and I had a feeling that we would get post credit scene.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why, just because it felt like the episode was ending early, and you know.
I had a hunch because the last time they did that with the musical cue of the credits music was the last time we had a post credit scene.
Right. Good point.
So, and that was not too long ago. That would have been just as. Was that the episode following? No, it would have been the episode prior to the theater attack.
Yeah, they were like leaning into it, and it was like Abby being like, "Oh, I feel like things are about to change."
Yeah,
and the post credits there is like it's Falco leading Reiner down the steps.
Yes, yeah.
So
fitting.
This one is short and sweet. You know, it's Marley folk realizing that. They're sifted through the debris on their end, and they seem to put together a piece that Zeka's betrayed them. Yeah, Zeka's betrayed them, and you know we're gonna retaliate, but we need 6 months. To which Reiner says, "No, let's go now." Interesting. So Reiner is back to this version of himself, for the millionth time.
Yeah, I was kind of a little bummed to see that. I was like,
same.
Dude.
I was like, what, man? Like, what? I don't know. Maybe his motivation or his goal is evolving. Maybe he's just playing the role of you know, vice chief, like what he's supposed to do.
Oh, he's running the show. Well, I think, you know, like he's most senior in command. Do you know what the weirdest thing about this scene was? Has completely off base. I'm blanking on his name. What's Falco's brother's name?
Colt.
Colt doesn't like almost look like a completely different character.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I don't know. It was just I was like, oh, is that Colt? Like I didn't know who it was in the room in the moment. I was like, oh, it honestly looked like they changed like his animation, his face. But it could just be like the tone. Like the episode looked drastically different than like previous episodes.
Yeah, you could tell they got some time with this one. It was really well done that way.
But yeah, no, Reiner's gung ho, and then you know Pieke freaking all. Like he didn't just have his ass handed, or Pac, sorry. Yeah, like just had his ass handed to him, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go." Let's, you know, it's like okay, they're a fucking tough guy. Like,
hothead, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they officially. I don't know. We did this last time, but they're officially under Titaned. Like they don't have. I think LD, you know, our Parody has the most Titans right now, especially with Aaron. He's jacked to the tits. I mean. He's gonna be tricky to take out.
It's gonna be curious to see how like he's again. I think we had talked about this before, but like is like going to be like an amalgamation of the Attack Titan and the Warhammer Titan? Do you think, or is it going to be like
he's gonna? You know, same guess I made last time is I think he's gonna look the same.
Yeah,
but he's gonna be able to bury you in armor or you know. Fucking make a Glock or something.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, like, but I will say, like, their argument, I found it to be sound. Of their, you know, like they weren't just being emotional over the fact that like Gabby and Falco were taken or gone. Like they don't really know.
Yeah.
But like they are like they do make a point of like if the goal is to win, succeed, we do need these candidates.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
You know, and
they've demonstrated to be good.
Yeah.
And then, they're right on the timing thing too, right?
Yeah.
When Aaron got on that airship a couple episodes ago, he said, "We destroyed the port. We killed a lot of their military. It's going to buy us some time, before they can, you know, unite the whole goddamn world against us." So if it doesn't buy them time, and we just show up for a quick surprise attack, it sounds like they could do damage, especially if Aaron's in fucking prison when it happens.
They said a global alliance so many times. It was so funny. I was laughing. I was just snickering every time they said global alliance.
Yeah. Who Who's involved?
The Global Alliance.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then did you watch the Stinger?
Yeah, like a fool. Yeah. Now I was a little shy going into it this time. I was a little worried. I was like, I don't want to get tricked again.
It gave a little bit away. My short-term prediction is that someone's gonna stage a jailbreak and get Aaron out. Yelena, Zeke, Flock, all of them. I don't know. Or not. I don't know. I don't put my name on that, but I feel like that's the direction it's going with the introduction of all this. All these people that are obsessed with him.
If there's one thing, like the combination of like this episode and then the ending of this episode and then also like the preview, is I am starting to get a little nervous about episodes left.
Yeah, I mean,
I know like everyone seems to be pretty confident about like a part 2.
Yeah.
And like I'm my heart of hearts like
I think that's where it's going.
Yeah, but like this, if that's not the case, like that's a lot they potentially have to wrap up in. Was it 6 episodes? No,
5 now.
5.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I don't think so.
No,
it's way too popular, and most importantly, there's the matter of precedent. You know what I mean? They did it last year or last season, and I think so. Last thing on the Stinger though is, I think it's Hanj that they have narrating those, and she has one great line. I don't often pay attention to I don't like to frame by frame the Stinger,
Sure.
I know some people are into that, but she does have one line in there where she says, "By now, one should be used to the shifting of the truth." And I was just like, yeah, fucking Attack on Titan, man.
Oh my god. This is great episode. Like, I don't this is probably one of my favorite ones in of the past few. Like I've liked the the parody episodes. But I think this is the best one since I think this is the best episode since Aaron reveals himself to Reiner in the basement.
I think so. Yeah. We and other people, I think, were a little annoyed with Gabby and her introduction, how she played, and so you would think that giving her a whole episode might not do well, but I think it was, this was kind of the heart of the show in a lot of ways.
But that's evidence of a good character.
Yeah.
Of hate, they introduce her, you're like, fuck this kid. And then you get to this moment, you're like, I get it. You're hurt.
Exactly. You care the whole way through. I don't know. I don't want this to be the end of her story, but I thought it was a really, really important chapter in her development, and crazy for a character we've only met this season to for us to care this much about. So I think that's again another nod to how great the storytelling is. Yeah. But I think that's basically it for this week.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week, same time. If I didn't mention it earlier, we're anime onlys, obviously, right? So we wouldn't really know what's coming in terms of the manga. So, we're along for the ride, just like everybody else. If you found us on any kind of podcast or social media platform, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, etc. And it's been a pleasure interacting with everybody online. When we're not doing the show, please keep listening. We love it. It's great encouragement. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.